everybody, I'm here with Amy again.
Hello, beautiful Karen.
I thought that you might like this video. I know it's a bit late for you and your family, but you have to have hope somewhere along the line. And this is a Dr. John Campbell, so go and sub to his channel. And, well, I found it very interesting what he was talking about. I can hear Floss snoring again. Where is she? Where you are, be quiet. Oh, it's the kitchen. That usually shuts her up. So what did you make of this video, Amy? After everything that you've been through?
Yeah, very good. I've heard about those types of drugs being used against cancer, like anti-parasitics. And yeah, with our own experience with our dad, when he had brain cancer, glioblastoma, and it's such a deadly form of cancer, and they used the radiation and chemotherapy with him, and it just about destroyed him, that radiation.
I know, Amy, yeah.
Yeah. And if there's something else that they can try that would be so much better, they really need to let people try that. And I mean, I just can't imagine that the treatment for cancer has to be this poisonous material that they give people.
Yes.
You know, like
was it mustard gas?
Yeah, it's derived from mustard gas.
And this guy says in here that the side effects, it's not even as bad as taking a paracetamol or an ibuprofen.
Yes.
And he says everybody should be able to take this, but because it would be a good thing and would maybe heal all the people, and the fact that the pharmaceutical won't get their money, it won't happen probably, will it?
That's right. I think it's just terrible that they allow people to suffer the way that they do with cancer and all the horrible treatments that they use, when they could try something else that could really help.
It seems amazing that there's always something else. Imagine how much, you know, the cancer, all the money people have donated for all these things, cancer and all that.
Yes, and it never gets better. I mean, it seems that more and more people are getting cancer, and younger people are getting it, and they're horrible cancers, and people are not seeming to survive. And unfortunately, it's so tragic, and something needs to be done. I thought by now they would have had a cure for cancer back 50 years ago or so.
They're always looking for the cure, Amy. They never seem to find one, but here is one.
I think so.
Do you think that we should put the video in? Because I know you've got a lot more to say, but we'll put that a little bit later on, yeah?
Okay, sure, yes.
Amy's raring to go now. You didn't know you were going to be, did you? But you are now.
Right.
Anyway, let's put the video on.
Okay.
And welcome to this talk. Now today I want mostly to be looking at this paper here. Ivermectin, a potential anti-cancer drug derived from an anti-parasitic drug, published in the peer-reviewed journal Pharmacological Research. Now, as you would expect, this wasn't published in the United States or the United Kingdom or Australia or New Zealand or Canada. This is actually research from China. So let's get straight into it now. Now, is there a plausible mechanism of action is the first question. Is it conceivable that this could be true? Well, it gives various mechanisms of action in the paper. And we're also going to be looking at some specific cancers which the researchers feel this is efficacious for. But let's start off with mechanisms of action.
Yes, actually, he has a very good subbing. I didn't even read it correctly. 3.1 million. That's a pretty good following then.
Yes.
And he's still there talking about alternatives.
Right.
So, Amy, this programs cell death patterns in all different tumour cells. So, it's parasitic, anti-parasitic drug.
Yes.
What does that mean then? We're full of parasites.
Well, Parasite, it would be like animals get them, like worms and things like that. And so that drug was used originally, I think veterinarians used it for animals that had worms and parasites. Anything that feeds off of your body
Wow, and now they've realised it kills cancer as well.
Yeah. And I know there was a theory about cancer was a fungus. That used to be a theory, and it didn't get off the ground. But that reminds me of the same thing, kind of like antifungal or anti-parasitic. Reminds me of the same type of mechanism. And so I could see where that would work if that's really, if they really know. I don't think they really know what cancer is. They say it's a mutation in the cells, and they go wild and start reproducing and overtaking all the healthy cells. But I think there could be some merit to the theory that it's like a parasite or something like that. So it just boggles my mind that the way you treat that disease is with this chemotherapy that is so poisonous and harms the rest of your body
and
as well.
And it's going to make you live. Not.
Yes, I just can't get my mind around it.
Yes, I bet you can't. If everybody hasn't realised, because obviously it did happen a few years ago, if anybody new has joined the channel, Amy's dad was put through this process because he had a tumour in the brain, and then it turned him into a paraplegic.
Yes,
he couldn't talk, couldn't walk, bent body, bent bones, incontinent. It's disgusting, isn't it, Amy?
Is he went from being such a healthy, vibrant man to just being rendered, ridden and unable to talk and
what a shame you didn't know about this drug then. You could have asked for it.
Oh, I know, but they probably wouldn't have wanted to give it.
Oh no, he went to a different state, didn't he?
No, we have a prominent hospital here that treats cancer.
No, what I mean is, in the program, the person went to another state to buy the medicine. You probably would have had to have done the same.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yes, that's right. He did. You're right.
Well, it would be nice if this sort of thing was open to everybody then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we put the video back on again, Amy?
Oh, yes, Karen.
Now, what they say is ivermectin induces different programmed cell death patterns in different tumour cells. So this is the key thing, programmed cell death patterns. So what seems to be happening here is the body's own way of killing its own cells is activated to kill cancer cells, which of course is exactly what is required in cancer, to get rid of these cancer cells. The main form of ivermectin-induced programmed cell death is apoptosis. So they're saying ivermectin is inducing programmed cell death. Now, apoptosis is just programmed cell death. So like when you were, before you were born, you had tissue between your fingers, and there was apoptosis of the tissue that was formed between the fingers. That's why you have separate fingers. So apoptosis is a perfectly normal process. It goes on in later life as well. And this is stimulating, according to these researchers, stimulating apoptosis in cancer cells. Autophagy is another one, basically self-eating. Lysosomal dependent form of programmed cell death. So lysozyme is an enzyme inside cells that can destroy and digest cells. And proteolysis is an inflammatory based proteotosis is an inflammatory based mechanism. Inflammatory cell death induced by inflammasomes. These are components in the cytoplasm of cells again, which will cause inflammation and destruction of the cells. So mechanisms there do appear to be plausible. And if you look at the paper, now the paper is somewhat complicated, I think it has to be said. But if you look at it, it talks about the different types of cancers And it also gives some plausible mechanisms in diagrammatic form. Now, these are quite biochemical. I don't intend to run through them all, but they have plausible mechanisms of action that could be working here. For example, that one to generate apoptosis, and another one here to generate another form of cell destruction, or autophagy. And they also have a diagram that illustrates potential mechanisms of action for the proteoptosis, cell destruction. So not ludicrous at all, but of course the key thing is, does this work in real life? Let's just stop now. I want to play a short clip from a cancer surgeon in the United States. This is Dr. Kathleen Ruddy. Some links for her there. She's a cancer surgeon, researcher, and author in the United States. Let's get her clip now, and then we'll come back and think about it.
Well, in a moment, we're going to listen to Dr. Kathleen Ruddy talk. And it's good to see that a doctor in this system is prepared to try something else. And the fact that she met up with this person and, he tried this, what do you call it, parasitic?
Yes, anti-parasitic.
Yeah, so basically, I think what it is somewhere in there, your body is not killing off the cancer cells, and then this drug ignites it to kill all the bad things.
Right.
So it must be your immune system and everything. It's just not... Yeah, what do you think, Amy?
Yeah, well, that's what I think too. And I know that they're using some some immunotherapy, it's called, but that can be quite devastating to people too. It can get their immune system to turn on itself in certain cases. So I think this anti-parasitic sounds so much more promising from what I've heard.
If you listen to it from his eyes, it's almost like you can take the power into your own hands and try and get this drug and try it. But that didn't happen for your dad, did it?
No, they only...
basically, they offered you that he would probably be all right. And they said that they got rid of it all. They left him basically like a paraplegic or something.
Oh, definitely, he was. He was a paraplegic.
Twisted his body. He was incontinent. He couldn't talk. This is what chemotherapy did.
Yes, yeah, and the radiation. Every day he had to go for radiation, and he would just be worse after every session.
You don't know if they burnt his brain now when you're listening, because what it is when he was having treatment, they thought, they weren't sure if it was cancer or whether it was radiation burning, and that's what it was.
Right.
And now what it is even though, well, we'll watch this video, but he still has an injury from that. Is that what DN's talking about?
Oh, I wonder so. Possibly so.
It's the kind of damage that he's had.
Yes. Yeah.
It just came into my mind then. But, your dad didn't get this choice. Well, anyway, I just think what happened to your dad was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you said, didn't you? It's like they put you on a roller coaster ride, let you go, and there was nobody at the bottom to save you or help you or anything.
Exactly. That's exactly how it felt. We never saw the same doctors. Nobody knew what the cancer specialists were talking about. And this person,
I think he did get a bit of hospice, but he's taking this drug at home.
Oh, who's that?
The Dr. Kathleen Ruddy, when she sees the person.
Oh, yes.
He's taking that at home. He's not in hospital and everything.
Right. Yeah, they had turned him over into hospice, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite incredible, isn't it? I mean, there's hope for everyone if it does that.
Right.
You could give it to them earlier on before they have any of the mustard gas.
Oh, I know. It would be so much better.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, I wouldn't probably be here unless they took my gallstones away. But since then, I just now look at it and I just think, they're trying to save us. They're trying to kill us. And the pharma drugs, he says, well, that's a bad thing, is that pharma drugs won't be bought. But I think that's a good thing, Amy.
Right.
We used to heal ourselves, and now we rely on a pill.
That's right.
Should we play a bit more of the video and carry on talking?
Okay, Karen.
And I was not really even familiar with those people who use ivermectin. And so when, in the early days of COVID, when it became clear that ivermectin was effective in preventing and treating patients with a SARS-CoV-2 infection, I began to be aware, having looked in the literature, that there was 20 years of research showing that ivermectin had great potential in the treatment of cancer. I was introduced to a patient with stage 4 prostate cancer. Had received 2 vaccines, perfectly healthy, marathoner, no history of cancer in the family. 2 months after his second Pfizer shot, he works for the government. He's going to lose his job and his pension if he wasn't vaccinated. He was diagnosed all at once with stage 4 prostate cancer. He tells a very compelling story, melodramatic story about that 24-hour period of time in his life. And he went through the traditional protocols: radiation, chemotherapy, pharmacologic castration, all of it, over a period of 9 months. And then his doctor said, you know, there's really nothing else we can do. And his name is Paul Mann, and he was like, can't you give me more radiation? No. Can't you give me more chemo? No. Aren't there any other drugs? No. Are there any clinical trials? There's nothing. Hospice. Send for the priest. So a friend of his knew me, and she said, would you give Paul a call? He just needs some moral support, something. So I said, sure. So I began calling him. We spoke about once a week for 3 weeks, and finally, the poor guy was suffering. He had cancer in 11 bones in his body. His right leg was completely swollen, obstructed with tumor. He's miserable. And I said, Paul, I don't know if this is going to help you, but I know it's not going to hurt you. I just can't imagine, based on my judgment and understanding of the scientific literature and all of the work that Drs. Corey and Merrick had done, and others around the world, that ivermectin would hurt you. It might help. I can't say. So he said, you know, I'll give it a try. And he drove to Tennessee, where you could get it without a prescription. P.S. I discovered last night, having dinner with Paul and his wife, Terry, he drove from where he lives in Missouri to Tennessee and paid.
It's quite refreshing, Amy, to hear 2 doctors talk about a different way.
Oh, it really is.
Unless this one's worse than the others, really.
Yes.
Get them on that. That's it. It'll kill them quicker. But no, everything they're saying sounds so positive.
It does.
Yeah, very positive indeed. What a shame. I mean, I hope this does come much more into the public eye, doesn't it? So people can try it.
Oh, me too. I hope so.
Obviously, it would have worked for my dad, and it would have worked for your dad. Our dads are buried.
Yes, I know. So tragic.
Yes, as per usual. But should we carry on with the video? And we just wanted to say it's very refreshing, isn't it, that doctors are maybe looking for alternative ways.
Yes.
And also, it does less harm than a paracetamol or a ibuprofen, which we take regularly.
Yeah.
Or people do take them regularly, don't they?
That's right.
Yeah. Let's carry on with the video, but I like what she's saying.
Me too.
Cash for his ivermectin. That's it. He didn't submit it to an insurance company. He didn't tell anybody back in Missouri, his oncologist. No. His ivermectin prescriptions are listed in his chart. How did that information get from the pharmacy in Tennessee to his chart in Missouri? We don't know. Somebody does. I'd like to know myself. Anyway, he starts taking ivermectin, and he doesn't have any problems with it. And I talk to him every week, and how are you feeling? Well, no change. Next week, maybe a little bit better. I don't know. How's your leg? It's not quite as swollen. How's the pain? Pain everywhere. Maybe a little bit better. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Not getting worse. Not necessarily getting better, not getting worse. Fast forward. 2-month follow-up appointment at the clinic. They didn't expect to see him. Okay, he's like, Paul. He's feeling a little bit better. They do PSA, which was off the charts to begin with. And if I'm not mistaken, at the time they randomized him to hospice, I think it was in the hundreds, maybe 700, 800.
What does that mean exactly for the layperson?
Over 4 would be abnormal. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Prostate cells normally secrete a protein, prostate-specific antigen. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that they do. Cancer cells that originate in the prostate that are dividing rapidly and growing fast are spitting out PSA, okay? It's not that they're contributing to the body economy in any way. It's just they just want to multiply and divide, and that's the end of the story. And so your PSA levels start to rise, which is a marker, a screening marker. Oh, your PSA was 4, and now it's 8. Let's do a prostate ultrasound, whatever. So PSA can be a screen for the emergence of a tumor, but it can also be used, particularly at high levels, as evidence for cancer, response to cancer, recurrence of cancer. His was, I mean, it's supposed to be, 4, yeah, it's hundreds. Okay, he goes back for his 2-month appointment. It's 1.3. They said, you're in remission. Well, not, complete remission. He still had the bone mets, but you're in like a biochemical remission. Well, that was good news. Slowly, 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 he begins to improve. Less pain, swelling is okay. A lot of other vaccine injuries, however, he's getting better. He's getting better. We're giving him nutritional support and other supplements. So he's getting better. But 9 months later, he's out dancing for 4 hours, 3 nights a week. He gets a head-to-toe rescanning, and 3 of the bone mets are gone. There's no growth of the mets that are there, no new lesions. There's only one hot spot, and that's where he received radiation therapy, and the radiologist really could not distinguish whether that was a tumor hot spot or radiation change. He is doing very well. Now, the vaccine injury is a problem, but the cancer is no longer a problem, except for the fact that it's still there, and we want to get rid of it completely. And he said, he called me from a hockey game, and he said, if I didn't know I have cancer, I would not know I have cancer.
Well, based on 20 years research, stage 4 prostate cancer, over-the-counter drug in Tennessee, and that's from a cancer surgeon, researcher and author. So the thing about this is ivermectin is a remarkably safe drug. And if you're very ill anyway, it's hard to think of a reason not to try things that you might not normally try.
I kind of like his thinking, Amy.
Oh, me too, Karen.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you should try this one. He's a doctor.
Yes.
It's about time
That's right.
doctors step up and start telling us the truth.
Oh, I agree.
So I like this guy here.
Yeah.
He's
Me
obviously
too.
anti certain things, isn't he?
Yes.
And again, in here, he says that it's bad news for pharmaceutical, but I think that's definitely good news. They've had enough of our money, and,
Oh, I know.
some people, sorry, Amy, I'm not talking about you or anything, but some people are on drugs for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yes. Yeah, lots of people, really. It's such a big industry. They've
Water
got people.
tablets, probably sugar tablets, salt tablets. It just goes on. I know there's little basic
Oh.
ones, but They're just on things all the time.
Right.
And I was watching a video. Do you know what saline is? Saline, yeah. You know when you're ill, you know how they say salts are bad for you. Do you know what saline is?
Yeah, is that like salt and water?
Yeah, it's salts.
Like a solution. Yeah.
So when you're really, really ill, they give you the salts.
Right.
I mean,
That's right.
something's just wrong here.
Oh, I know. It's like they tell us the opposite of what is true.
Yes.
Yes.
Shall we carry on with the video, Amy?
Oh, okay, Karen.
And obviously what we should do, it's patently obvious what we should do, is people that would elect to try this should be free to do so, under the supervision of their doctors, of course. And a cohort should be generated and data should be collected. And if this was available, I think we would get a few thousand patients in the first cohort within a few weeks. Because sadly, we've got people around us dying of cancer now. So many of you have been touched by cancer deaths. I've had so many correspondence and comments on that. And tragic, I only mention this because it's now in the public domain, but Sir Chris Hoyer diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. It's only 48, very poor prognosis with current medical treatment. A lot of this around. Why not try this and develop a cohort? Let's hope the regulatory authorities are listening and take this on board. It's just such an obvious thing to do. So let's just look at a few other cancers that this paper, remember we're looking at this paper here, ivermectin, potential anti-cancer drug derived from an anti-parasitic drug, data research from China. Other forms of cancer that are mentioned in this paper, breast cancer is mentioned, malignant tumour produced by gene mutations in breast epithelial cells, milk-producing cells. Digestive system cancers, gastric, of course, is stomach, and hepatocellular liver. Again, they're mentioned in this paper with some evidence. Why not try it? Urinary cancers. Renal cell, that's kidney cancer, of course. Mentioned in the paper with possible mechanisms of action. Prostate cancer, as we've just heard from Dr. Ruddy. Hematological, blood, leukemia, reproductive system cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, again mentioned in the paper with mechanisms of action. And brain glioma.
Oh, that's
So anyway,
okay.
it covers prostate cancer, which should have been perfect for my dad.
Yes.
Anyway, we're just going to look up one more now. Brain glioma is the most common cerebral tumour. What is it? A glioblastoma.
Yes.
You say it, Amy. What is it?
We pronounced it as glioblastoma. British might say glioblastoma, but that's what my dad had.
So this would work also for a brain tumour, so it could have worked for your dad, and prostate cancer with my dad.
Oh, yes.
Could they have been offered it?
I know. That might have really given them a chance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, should we carry on with the video?
Okay, Karen, yes.
Glioblastoma, very poor prognosis. Respiratory system cancers, nasopharyngeal, nose and throat. Lung cancer, melanoma of the skin. And it's not just here. I've just included a few other papers. I'm not going to go through them all. There's a few other papers there with references that list these potential benefits. Now, it sounds pretty far-fetched that one drug could be efficacious against cancers in so many diverse areas. But if it is working in this way, and if it's disrupting the mechanisms of action, which I've misplaced now, but if it's disrupting the mechanisms of action that we mentioned, the apoptosis, the programmed cell death, the cell death within the cells, the lysosomal cell death, and the inflammatory mechanisms of cell death, then if these mechanisms are being stimulated and are killing cancer cells, then it's plausible. And in my mind, even without spending $10 million on a clinical trial, people that want to try this should be allowed to, not just people that live in Tennessee. And data should be collected and cohorts developed and their progress followed. This will cost essentially nothing. If it's completely useless, in the vast majority of cases under medical supervision, the ivermectin is going to be very, very, very safe drug, way safer than ibuprofen, for example, or paracetamol. And our cohort could be developed and amazing things could be learned. Now, of course, the downside is that pharmaceutical companies might lose sales on really expensive, modern, patented drugs.
Well, I don't think it's bad news for them if we find a drug that works without any side effects, which is good for your body and it heals you. Isn't that the most important thing, or is it the money?
I know it should be to heal the person, but I think they say that cancer is like a multi-billion-dollar industry or something. They really are making a lot of money right now as it stands with the drugs that they're using. So I think that's what he meant when he said it would be bad news for pharma. But like you said, if we could use something that was much more healing and didn't have all those horrible side effects, that would be so much better.
For everyone.
For everyone, yes.
You know, people can take this drug and hopefully the doctor keeps a record of it and it becomes a study. But
yes, exactly.
You don't even really need that much. You don't need to go to hospital. You don't need to stay there for hours on end having treatments, nothing. You just take it at home.
Exactly. That would be so wonderful.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of what happens to you if a doctor looks at you, really.
Oh, no.
I know you're saying get the guidance from your own doctors and everything, but, well, I quite like this doctor.
Oh, yes, me too.
So, we'll finish in a moment, Amy.
Okay.
So it's not all good news. But in my view, there's just no reason not to develop these cohorts and make this available to people that would choose to try this. Let me know what you think. We'll leave it there for now. Thank you for watching.
Well, obviously we haven't taken the drug, but it looks very promising to me, and it doesn't have all that mustard gas in it.
Right.
It sounds a lot more positive way to take a medicine that doesn't interact with your body in the wrong way. It sounds like it interacts with your body in the right way.
Yes, not so harsh on your body the way these other things are.
Programmed cell death patterns in different tumour cells. Mechanisms of action.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your body's not making enough of the right cells to kill.
Right.
Cancer sounds like ivy, doesn't it? It just wants to take over.
Yes.
Well, I very much enjoyed this person's video. Please go over to his channel and obviously watch more of his videos.
Yes.
Did you enjoy that one, Amy?
Oh, I did, Karen. Thank you for sharing that.
But, yeah, we're all looking for an alternative, aren't we? I like the sound of this one.
Me too.
About time we had some alternatives that work.
It really is. I mean, all of my life they've been...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Cancer research. Donate, donate, donate.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still looking for the cure.
It's not right. I was sure there would be a cure by now, and it's not, as far as they tell us. So,
Right.
not right. It's horrible.
It is.
So that would be great if they could find if this thing really works and they let people try it. That would be great.
It would, Amy. I agree with you. But anyway, thanks very much for listening to that video, Amy, and the chat room. And everybody put down what you think.
Yes.
And thanks for helping me make that video, Amy.
Oh, you're welcome, Karen, and thank you.
Is there anything else you want to add, or do you think we've said enough?
Oh, I think we've about covered everything.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you very much, Amy.
You're welcome, Karen.